Joining us now is Wardah Khalid. She is a Peace Fellow on Middle East Policy at the Friends Committee on National Legislation. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
So Israel and Hamas both agree on something for once. Leadership from both sides publicly rejected this report. We heard the word biased. I'd like to get your reaction to that and to the findings.
Sure. Well, I would have to say, as working as a human rights organization, human rights groups welcomed this report. You know, finding out something that has previously been spoken about by both these organizations like Amnesty International, by Human Rights Watch, saying that both sides have committed crimes, war crimes, during this previous conflict in Gaza. So they're very happy to hear about that. Of course, you know, as you mentioned, Hamas and Israel were not very happy. Hamas did mention that they were happy that Israel got mentioned, but of course, both do not want to accept any blame that what they were doing was war crimes.
Do you think this report was fair?
I think given that the access that the Commission of Inquiry had, they were able to find out that both sides committed war crimes, and I guess I would say it's fair in that aspect. You know, it was very difficult for them to get the information that they wanted. Israel was not being cooperative in letting them go into Gaza and the West Bank. Egypt also was not letting them go into Gaza via the Rafah crossing. The Palestinians were cooperative in that, but still they were not able to find detailed information to find out, you know, the proportionality of attacks, whether they actually hit civilians or not. So it's kind of a work in progress of what's going on, but it's definitely a step forward in identifying both sides have committed crimes.
What do you think is the next step, and how do you think this could lead to charges within the International Criminal Court? Do you think that would be welcomed or something that rights groups would like to see?
I think rights groups want to see justice for both sides. You know, Israel suffered $25 million of civilian infrastructure damage. In Palestine, there were 18,000 homes destroyed and over 2,000 people killed. So they want justice on both sides, no matter which side you're on, Israel or Palestine. As far as the ICC mandate goes, it was not within the mandate of this Commission of Inquiry to identify a war crime or identify somebody as to be responsible in the ICC context. This will build political momentum and will help people provide more information, whether it's the ICC or whether it's other institutions, in getting justice for both sides.
You mentioned the lack of access in putting this report together. Israel released its own report last week claiming that its military followed international law, blaming Hamas for Palestinian deaths. What do you make of these independent reports done within you know, countries' own jurisdictions? I mean, is that helpful at all, or is that just maybe adding to the issue here?
I think Israel's report was very strategic. They released it preemptively because they knew this UN report was coming. And in that report, I think if you look at it, you can't hide the facts. So in that report, they say 56% of the Palestinians that were killed were in fact civilians. Now, the UN number is higher at 70%. Either way, whether you're looking at 56 or 70%, that's a high number of civilian casualties. So I think it's a devastating consequence all around. And, you know, you can have a report that makes it look like a little bit better, but it's not going to hide the situation on the ground, in that both Palestinians and Israelis suffered from this war.
All right, Wardah Khalid, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your insight.